Morning, everybody. See, we got a couple followers watching us already this morning. Just to kind of fill you in and let you know, you're riding this morning with Sergeants Holt and Swanton. We are on Lakeshore Drive. Many people call this Waco's Raceway or Speedway. Obviously, this is one of the areas of major concern for us for high volumes of traffic. One of the areas of concerns for us for speeding issues, and obviously with that comes the crashes that we have on Lakeshore Drive. A couple of things we're doing live past few days. We got a lot of interest in this, and it looked like y'all really enjoyed this. So we wanted to venture out this morning and talk a little bit about the equipment that our officers use to help us monitor traffic and help keep citizens safe. So this morning what we've got is a radar detector, or I'm sorry, a radar that Sergeant Holt is working. And one question that we get from lots of folks is, well, if I buy a radar detector, is that going to keep me from getting a ticket? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that this morning, tell you how these radars work and whether a radar detector in your vehicle will get you out of a ticket or keep you safer. Let me make the point first and foremost. Radar detectors in the state of Texas are actually legal to have. Now, the laser radar that Sergeant Holt is using this morning is called a laser radar. So the question people have is, if I have a radar detector, will it keep me from being detected, or will it protect me in the event officers using this? Here's the answer to that. Your radar detector will pick up this laser radar that Sergeant Holt is using. However, what good it's going to do you is basically it's going to tell you you just were clocked with a laser radar and we have your speed. So it's going to give you a heads up you're fixing to get pulled over and get a ticket for an infraction if you were speeding, in fact speeding. Basically, the way a laser radar detector works is it is searching for signals of radio frequencies. So every time Sergeant Holt pulls the trigger on this laser radar he's using, it sends out a signal. So that signal is going to go out there, it's going to hit your radar detector, and it's going to return to us. But by the time your radar detector goes off, well, guess what? We've already got the speed clocked in, and I'll see if I can give you a little close-up of the numbers here, and maybe a little dark this morning for you to see it, but there's an electronic display where Sergeant Holt is clocking the speeds. And we'll give you an example. If you can see out in the distance, this is Lakeshore Drive. People are coming across Lakeshore Drive. Sergeant Holt is using the laser radar. It is not on at this point, but as a car enters his field of view, he's got a sighting system on the top that you can kind of see through there. It's got a red dot on the inside of it. He places it specifically on the car that he is trying to get the speed on. So there's no question that it was your car that was speeding because of the sighting system that we use. And once he's got that sighted in, he clicks the trigger and it's instantaneous. Your speed comes back to us. So that's how our laser radar works. And we'll give you an example of how some folks are doing here coming across Lakeshore Drive Bridge in about the 4200 block of Lakeshore. Again, this is one of those areas where people speed quite frequently, and it's a little unusual, to be quite honest, that we've sat here without having to take off and pull somebody over. Take a few questions from you if you've got them. I'll let Sergeant Holt explain this laser radar to you, and he can tell you a little more about it. Sergeant Holt?
Can they see this?
They can.
So you're going to see two sets of numbers. The top set of numbers, the top numbers will be the speed of the violator. The bottom numbers are the distance at which the vehicle was acquired. So on this particular readout, it's 41 miles an hour at 934 feet. What we often see is we check vehicles as far as 2,000, 2,500 feet away, and at about 500 feet they see us and they slam on their brakes. But understand, by that time it's too late.
And what you're looking through, Scott, if you'll hold it there, I'm going to try and get a little bit better view of the sighting system that we use. And it's almost like a red dot sight. Those of you that are familiar with scoped weapons, you can see the red dot in there if I can get it just right. There we go. And that's what he's using to sight in a vehicle down the road. And again, what he's able to do is sight over that far of a distance and lock in on the vehicle. Again, it tells us how far away you are, and it's very specific as to which vehicle that we're stopping or clocking with the radar. Any questions from anybody out there about these? Let me back down through. I'll go through and see if we've got any. Somebody wanted to know how to do a ride along. Man, that's a great question, and I'll tell you this. We encourage our citizens to do ride-alongs with the police department. That's why we're doing this morning. We want to give you a taste of police work. And this is just one of the many things that we end up doing is traffic enforcement. If you want to come ride along with our officers, you're interested in learning more about your city departments, or you're interested in becoming a police officer, this is one of the most eye-opening experiences that you can have, is actually come ride with us, see what we do, go on the calls with us, and experience what it's like to be a police officer. So we wholeheartedly encourage our citizens to do that. All you have to do is call our patrol office at 750-7500. Request the patrol office, tell them you want to do a ride along, and we'll get you the forms necessary to do that. Good question. Thanks for asking that one, Bobby. Carlos, thank you, Carlos. I appreciate that. I'll tell you, I'm happy where I am. It has been an honor and a privilege to work for the city of Waco for 37 years. I think Sergeant Holt will say that same thing. We are blessed to be in the community that we're in and get to work with the quality and caliber of citizens that we've got here. Cody says, just sitting here waiting for y'all to catch one of the tons of people who blow down that hill. And they do. Obviously, this is a lot of folks. Now, I'll tell you, there's a hill at the end of Lakeshore, I think, that Cody's talking about right before you get to 19th Street. Some people think it's not fair for us to take radar there because you're going to gain momentum going down that hill. But I'll tell you this, the officers that write tickets there generally do not write a ticket unless you're doing 20 miles an hour over the posted speed limit. The posted speed limit on Lakeshore is 40 miles an hour. We understand that going down a hill you're going to gain momentum. We have tested it and tried it, and I'll tell you, if you keep your foot off the brake, foot off the gas, you're going to gain anywhere from about 8 to 12 miles an hour. However, we typically don't write tickets unless you're doing 60 miles an hour plus, and that is a common ticket that we write on the hill on Lakeshore. So it's the idea that people think that it's wide open and they can see a long way. However, the reason the speed limit is 40 is there's a nursing home at the bottom of the hill. You see straight across the street from where we are, there's apartments. There's always heavy traffic on Lakeshore, homes and residential areas in the area. So please, people, when you're on Lakeshore, take the time to slow down a little bit and enjoy your drive home and get home safe. Let's see, Skylar says that's where he got pulled over. Unfortunately, it happens. Skylar, I hope you learned a lesson from that one. Maybe it'll keep you alive. Esteban commented, while a radar detector cannot guarantee you from not getting a ticket, it can connect or detect the different types. It does do that. But again, unfortunately, by the time that radar detector is going off, we've already got your speed, so it doesn't really matter. Do we do ride-alongs? Yep, I answered that a second ago. Absolutely. We encourage those. Please come see us. Visit with our patrol office about doing those ride-alongs. Here's a question for you, Scott. Mike asked, do these machines need to be calibrated like the old radar machines?
What's that?
Do the machines need to be calibrated like the old radars?
Well, they come calibrated from the factory. We don't calibrate anything. We check them, we test them internally and externally, but as far as calibrating them, that's done at the factory, at the manufacturer.
Okay. So when an officer checks out a radar or starts to use a radar, they have a program that they check, or there is a way for them to check and make sure the radar is working correctly?
On this particular laser, there is a test mode that will test site acquisition to make sure your site picture is correct, and also test two different distances. Those three things are tested before this radar is used, before this laser is used, and as long as those three things test out, then it's operational and ready to go.
All right, great. Next question. So where you two are sitting, y'all could clock someone halfway down the hill. Actually, if you'll look way off in the distance there, that is the opposite side of the Lakeshore Bridge, right before you get to the light on Park Lake Drive in Lakeshore. We're sitting on the opposite end of the bridge by the a little shopping center in the 4300 block. Absolutely. The furthest point that you can see out there, we are reaching out with this laser radar and able to clock people on their speeds. Somebody says, be a good citizen. Remember, always flash your lights to warn others of speed traps when you see them. First thing we'd like to say is, number one, they're not speed traps. We tell people we're out here. That's not much of a trap for us to tell you we're going to be here. And do we mind people doing that? Certainly not. Here's what we think happens when that occurs, is it's voluntary compliance. We would much rather have you slow down on your own than for us to have an interaction with you, such as a traffic citation. We don't enjoy writing traffic tickets. Unfortunately, that's a part of our business that we do have to do to keep our citizens safe. But certainly, flash your lights if you want to. Nothing illegal about it. We encourage folks to do that, and some folks may do that on their own. Whether there's a radar officer working or not, and may just be a good way to remind people to slow down and drive safe. Ruth Ann had a question. Hey, good morning, Mrs. Fuller. Does it measure oncoming traffic only? Nope, we can get them coming or going. So if on Lakeshore here, traffic running where we are basically is running, I guess that'd be eastbound and westbound. Waco's laid out a little different, so it depends where you are, but it'll get traffic going both ways. It just depends on where Sergeant Holt has sighted the laser in, and when he clicks the button, what vehicle it's checking.
So the difference will be, if you can see the display, you will see a negative 45. A negative is a car that's going away from me. If there's no negative sign, then it's a car coming toward me. That will be the only difference. But yes, we can get them coming toward and going away from.
All right, scrolling down through the question. Do the laser radars have to be calibrated like the old ones? Can you get out of a ticket for a non-calibrated radar? Again, these are calibrated when they come from the factory. There are checks that officers do, internal checks on the calibration of the radar that tells them the radar is working and that the indications are true and correct. Basically, when the officer uses the radar, they have already done that and the radar is in good working order. I can assure you, we train our officers. If you have a problem with your radar or you feel like it's not working, then we tell them, don't use them. Get them written up. We'll send them back to the factory. We don't want to have a piece of equipment out here that may be malfunctioning. We don't want to write bad tickets. Obviously, again, we talked about that being part of our job, and we're going to do the best we can to make sure that the equipment is working correctly. Janie wants to ride along. Janie, come out, ride with us. Again, check with us, and we'd be more than welcome to have you out here. Amanda asks, is it true that all radars have to be inspected every 90 days? I've heard this before and I've always wondered. Scott?
No. Our every radar we get comes with a certificate from the manufacturer that it is accurate and it is functioning properly. Like we touched on before, each and every person utilizing a radar, whether it is Doppler or laser, will verify everything is working properly through a checklist before they begin their tour of duty or their shift. But no, they do not have to be sent back or 90 days or anything like that.
Meredith Robertson asked, do y'all have a Citizens Police Academy? Yes, we do. And we encourage people to come join that, come be part of that. You get to see the inner workings of the department. Every section that we have comes and gives a presentation. We'll take you to our range. We'll talk to you about what officers do. You get to do a ride along. You get to be involved with our department, and we encourage that. Again, we are so fortunate in the city of Waco that we got a community that cares about their men and women in blue. They want to be a part of us, and we strongly encourage you to do that. Check with us. Call our community outreach section at 750-7500, and they can give you all the information on that. Keep up with us on our website and our Facebook pages. We want people to do that. You get to see things like this. We tell you where we're working radar. We'll tell you if we're doing a red light operation, and you get lots of information about the goings on in and around Waco. John Lopez asked, is the detector pinpoint, i.e. per car, or does it have an arc to the range?
No, there is no arc. I mean, at some distance, obviously, the further you go out, the harder it is going to be to acquire the target. However, I've checked vehicles that because of the distance were very, very small, but the laser is capable of doing that. It is a pinpoint. Essentially, if you're familiar with any type of sighting system, it's like a red dot sight. There's a red dot, you put it on the front of the vehicle, pull the trigger, it gives you a speed. It's that simple.
Yeah, and it's a laser, so it sends out a straight beam, and what we're trying to do is send out that signal to hit the front license plate of the vehicle, and that's how pinpoint accurate it is. A lot of people question, well, there was a car behind me, or there was another car back beside me. How do you know it wasn't them? Well, the laser radars are that accurate. They are that specific. And again, as Sergeant Holt explained, it's called a red dot system. So when he's looking through his laser sight, if you will, there is a very small pinpoint red dot that he can specifically put on a vehicle, and it tells us how fast that particular car is going.
They're still asking questions?
Yep, still asking questions. Does it take a picture of the car?
No.
No, does not take a picture, he said. Basically all it does is it sends back a signal, tells you whether the car was coming towards you, going away. It tells the speed of the car, and then it tells the feet at which you checked that car's speed. And scrolling through some of the other questions. Highest rate that you've ever clocked someone? Sergeant Holt?
160, 170, somewhere around there.
160, 170 miles an hour. I'm hoping that was on the interstate.
Motorcycle.
Motorcycle on the interstate. I can tell you last summer, I think we were doing a radar enforcement program. I was riding with Sergeant Holt, and we were on Interstate 35. We actually stopped a vehicle doing 100 miles an hour, and that was... How fast is that one?
66 and a 40.
Just clocked a car doing 66 and a 40 here again on Lakeshore Drive. But the vehicle on Interstate was doing 100 miles an hour at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Not only did that individual get pulled over, that individual got arrested for reckless driving. Driving that fast in that amount of traffic tends to step up the enforcement efforts. And that person got arrested for reckless driving as to just a ticket. Somebody says, remember the same company that makes the radar detectors, makes the radar guns? Yeah, that I couldn't tell you about. Somebody says, nope, not with the laser laser radar, it's too late. Again, that's what we've been talking about with these. Yeah, it'll send a signal to your radar detector and it'll go off, but basically it's just telling you check your speed. If you were speeding, the police officer is fixing to pull you over. Somebody says, I thought it was against the law to warn people. I think you're talking about flashing lights. No, that's not a violation that you would actually get arrested for. Lakeshore Estates there just wanted to preview their van as they drove by. Nice of them to do. Now, if you flash your lights and an officer sees you, potentially you could get stopped. They may be thinking you had an emergency. They may pull you over and ask if everything's okay, but it's not against the law to flash your headlights. Let's see, scrolling through to get some of the other questions. My 2-year-old would love to ride along. He loves police, fire trucks, and ambulances. We like the kids too, Stephanie, and that's why we're always making efforts to stop and say hi and visit with them when we see them. Unfortunately, you have to be older to ride with us. However, keeping positive on the police and fire truck lines, and we'd love to see him in our department or working for Waco Fire at some point. Now, Scott and I will tell you that working for Waco PD is a much better job than the hose dragger guys. We get a lot more fun stuff to do. They play ping pong and pool and things like that. Kidding. Obviously, we have a good time with our fire guys. It's funny in the law enforcement world. You ask a police officer, would you be a fireman? They'll tell you absolutely not. And you ask most firemen, would they want to be the police? And they'll tell you no. As a cop, we don't want to run into buildings and fight the fires. That's their job. Obviously, they'll tell you they don't want to run into the gunfire. It's a healthy, well-rounded respect that we have for each other. We appreciate our fire guys and all they do.
Pat, you didn't tell me that you could see me on camera. I just got in trouble for not smiling.
Okay, smile for me.
I didn't know I was being looked at.
Scott got fussed at by somebody he knows for not smiling. He's all business here this morning, but he'll try to smile a little bit. To ride along, do you have to live in the city or live in the county or in the city? Nope, absolutely not. You can live in Waco. You can live in McLennan County. You can be from out of state. It doesn't matter where you live. You're welcome to ride along with us. Now, I will tell you this. For individuals to ride with the Waco Police Department, you do have to pass a criminal background check, meaning that you don't have any warrants out for you. We do have some rules. You have to sign a waiver. Obviously, law enforcement and police work is a dangerous line of work. So you do have to sign a waiver indicating that you understand there is a significant risk of danger to you for being in the vehicle with a police officer. We have had ride-alongs before, and they have witnessed an officer getting shot in the line of duty. They witnessed fights. They witnessed some extremely tragic events. Those kind of occurrences happen. It's real life, and unfortunately, if you're with us, we can't put you out of the car if we're on the way to a dangerous call or get in a pursuit. You're going to be right there with us. Thanks for serving the community. You're most welcome. Again, we're glad to do it. And I'm scrolling through some of the questions. Andrew, you're most welcome. We want our citizens to be informed. He said, thanks for informing the public. It settles any false understandings of the law. That's what we're doing this for, and why we're trying to increase your knowledge and your participation with our department. And we feel like this is a great way to do it.
Yeah, and let me be clear on something so everybody knows. We do our best to take all of the guesswork out of it. We are all taught that if we're not sure, let it go. You'll see a lot of cars pass by. Some of them were unable to get a speed. Some of them we just didn't have the radar activated at the time or whatever. But we don't play guesswork. If we stop you, we are most certain that we checked your vehicle and the speed is accurate. And like I said, we try to take all the guesswork out of it.
Bill Miles asks, is it true being a canine officer is cooler than a traffic guy? Let me say this about law enforcement work, and especially with our department, because I think I can speak for us. We have so many varieties of things that you can do when you join Waco PD. Obviously, our folks they go through an academy, and their first assignment is patrol. That's where you get the meat and potatoes of what real police work is about. You work everything from car crashes to robberies to bank robberies to murders to sexual assaults. You run the gamut of whatever you see on cops on TV. We do that. We are fortunate enough to have multiple units in our department that you can go to. There's the community outreach section, which provides public education to our community. They teach DARE, they do programs in schools. There's our SWAT unit. We have a canine unit. We have detective division. We have a narcotics unit. There's a multiple areas of things that you can go once you get your experience in patrol. We have a traffic unit, and I'm forgetting somebody else. Who am I forgetting, Scott? There's lots of different assignments that you can go to when you join Waco PD.
So I'm going to answer that.
Go ahead.
Being a canine cop is definitely cooler than being a traffic cop. But I love animals, so I love animals.
Well, there you go.
And I have never been a canine officer. So maybe that's why I think it's cooler.
Somebody said, let's see y'all work live. Leona, we are working live. This is part of our job is to provide community information and provide information to our citizens, and we feel like we're doing a service by doing that right now. We're telling you a little bit about the radar to catch those of you up maybe just joined us. We're on Lakeshore Drive, and taking questions from you. Somebody says the reason you didn't go after the person doing the speeding, it's a little, obviously we want to stay live with you this morning for a little bit, tell you a little bit about what we're doing. We would have to cut off our feed if we went after that violator. It's one of those that there will be somebody else comes along at another point in time. If he was speeding today, he'll be speeding tomorrow most likely. We'll catch him another time.
Are they talking about the 66?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he was stopped down the road.
Oh, he did get stopped?
Yeah, we got him down the road.
All right. The violator that was doing 66 and a 40 that somebody just asked about, he was stopped down the road by another unit that's out here with us. So are radar detectors legal in Texas or not? Scott?
You asking me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
They are legal. You can have them, put them in your car all you want to, and set them on the dash. Now understand, if you go out of the state of Texas, there are some states that they are not legal to have, and you can actually get them confiscated and get a ticket for having them.
And I speak for passenger cars only, not commercial motor vehicles.
Okay.
I'm thirsty.
Smile. Remember to smile. There you go. Somebody asked or made the comment, everyone go volunteer with victim services at Waco PD. It's so much fun, and you get to meet awesome officers and maybe get a ride along. It's another thing that we do here, and thanks, Leanne, for bringing that up. Victim services at our department host an academy every 6 months or so where we have volunteers come in. They are trained in how to deal with people in crisis. We take them out on situations such as our robbery calls, sexual assault calls, where people need just some additional support services. It's a wonderful organization, a great chance for our citizens to come in and interact, give back a little bit to the community in which they live, and we'd love to have you here as a volunteer with our victim services unit. There are age requirements for police officers, but for our victim services, there is not an age requirement, nor is there for our Citizens Police Academy. But again, reach out to the Victim Services Unit to inquire about that, or our community outreach about our Citizens Police Academy. And scrolling down, trying to find another couple of questions that we can visit about. Keith makes a comment and says, yeah, then again, if you have warrants, you'll get a ride along too, just a different kind. Yeah, absolutely. You get to ride in the back seat of the car instead of the front seat with us. Moses says hello from Los Angeles Police Department. Good morning, Moses. Glad you joined with us today. Sherry had a question, or had a comment. My daughter's uncomfortable about cops. Is there any way she can meet some cops and know y'all are okay to talk to as well? Absolutely. We would encourage you to visit with an officer. If you see an officer out somewhere, we tell our officers to expect those kind of interactions with our citizens, and we want to do that. So if you see an officer at a restaurant, bring your child up to us. Most of us carry stickers. We'd like to give them a sticker, talk to them as an officer. If you want to make an arrangement to do that, call our community outreach, and I'm going to throw her name out there. In his name, Officer Sophie Martinez and Officer Steve Dietrich and Sergeant Mark Mitzel work in our community outreach section. They would be more than happy to arrange a time with you to bring your daughter or your son or your kids down. They'll do a tour of the department with groups of kids for Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, church groups, civic organizations. They will meet with your kiddo one-on-one and just visit. We get on their level, talk with them. We want them to know that we are their friends, and in the event of an emergency, they can come to us if they need to. Question is, why does Sergeant Holt roll down the window prior to using the radar gun?
For better target acquisition. There's a filter on here that I can put on here to go through a window. It just allows for a clearer view. It allows for, like I said, a better sight picture, and it allows the laser to do its job. I can see if you can hear that tone.
It's a buzzing, kind of buzzing sound. Works a little better with the window down. Obviously, it helps us with road noise too, as we're trying to communicate with y'all this morning. And scrolling down, trying to get a few more of the questions. We've had y'all on for a little bit this morning, so I'll get through a few more last questions.
Is it supposed to rain today?
I don't think it's supposed to rain today. Robert says, I was K-9 for 6 years in military police. Best job in the military. What'd you get?
82.
All right, Sergeant Holt just clocked a car doing 82 on Lake Shore. That was it that just passed you. We're obviously going to stop that vehicle, and we'll be back later. All right, we're going to go back live with you here and give folks a few minutes to kind of catch back up with us. As we were talking and continuing to visit with you folks about our radars and radar detectors and the speeding issue that we have on Lakeshore, obviously I won't identify the young man that we have pulled over, but Sergeant Holt and I were working radar in the 4300 block of Lakeshore Drive when the vehicle was clocked doing 82 miles an hour in a 40-mile-an-hour zone. We pulled the vehicle over, but prior to us getting to that car, he was weaving in and out of traffic, extremely dangerous to do on Lakeshore Drive. This time of the afternoon, heavy traffic. He's fortunate to be getting a ticket. We pull him over. We've got his driver's license. We'll clear him through records, make sure he doesn't have any warrants out. But just so you know, his excuse for driving 82 miles an hour on Lakeshore Drive, he's late for work. Young man, we have a comment for you. You being late for work is fixing to cost you quite a bit of money, and we're going to make you even later. to bring you back up to date. We're back live. The violator we stopped for 82 in a 40-mile-an-hour zone on Lake Shore was just issued a citation. That's going to be an extremely expensive citation for that young man. Again, the reason that he said that he was late or was in such a rush was because he was late for work. Obviously not a reasonable excuse to be driving 42 miles an hour over the speed limit. The decision was made to issue him a citation. We did that. It will cost him dearly, I'm sure, but he was given a citation and sent on his way and told to slow down. One of the questions that I saw scrolling through some of the others was, oftentimes when we get people pulled over, what they want to do is see our radar. So somebody asked, is that something that the officers have to show you? It is not. We do not have to allow you access to our vehicles. Oftentimes our radars are in the car, as you see this one on the dash is. This is a separate type of radar that we have in the vehicle. It's got front and rear antennas that the officers can use. Again, we can get traffic coming at us. We can get traffic going away from us from the front, and then the back antenna will also pick up traffic either coming or going. So, as old saying is, we can get you coming or going either way. The officers are not required to show you their radar display. That's kind of a myth that people used to say, if you don't show me the radar, then how can you prove that I was speeding? Here's what we find. Most of the time when we show people the radar and it displays their speed, their first comment is, that was somebody else, not me. And you see where it just leads to argument. But the main cause that we don't show people radars in our vehicles today is for officer safety issues. Number one, we have equipment that can be accessible to people in our cars that we don't want them to have access to. The other thing is the car is running. We don't want to give somebody an opportunity to jump in our patrol car and take off, obviously. So, we just wanted to tell you thank you, Waco, for riding with us a little bit this morning. There were comments about why we didn't stay with that stop live. Obviously, it is because this is live, and you never know what's going to happen in circumstances like that. Obviously, our attention needed to be focused on the violator that we were pulling over and the business at hand. We don't do this to embarrass or give anybody a hard time. We just wanted to give you a little bit of insight into our world and share with you a little bit what goes on at Waco PD on a normal day with the traffic unit. Not that any days are normal in police work, as you never know what's going to occur, but we enjoy the opportunity to visit with our citizens and our community. Please stay with us. We'll do this from time to time, and you have my assurances that Sergeant Holt will smile a little bit more frequently.
Sorry for not smiling. I apologize.
And we enjoy the ride-alongs probably as much as y'all do. This is a taste of what we do. If you'd like to see more, do more, then reach out to us, touch base with Waco PD, join our Citizens Police Academy. Our police association is there for y'all. We do lots of things in the community. We're involved in our community, not only at work, but off duty. So if we can be of service to you, even off duty, reach out to our Waco Police Association. They do lots of fundraisers and events where they will have officers attend. We'd be happy to do that. Again, our Citizens Police Academy is a group that meets at the PD, volunteers for the PD. We have our Victim Services Unit. There's lots of things that you can do to be involved with your Waco Police Department. We reach out to you to do that. We encourage you to do that. We hope you have a safe and blessed day, and thanks for joining Sergeant Holt and Sergeant Patrick Swanton here on Waco PD Live.